how are you both doing? You both kind of had long nights. Did anybody sleep?
For me, I only got like 3 hours of sleep, but it was worth it.
It was worth it. And you, Marcelle, how are you
I
feeling?
played it nowadays
Yes.
yesterday, and I came in the car with you,
That's right.
and I had 3 hours sleep.
Yes. I'm about the
Here,
same.
here,
Yeah.
yes, yeah.
So I'm curious, and maybe this puts you on the spot a bit, so it can be a yes or no answer, but have either of you seen each other DJ before?
Well, for me, I seen her DJ in Switzerland, and when I first saw, I was instantly just stuck because of what I saw and what I heard. I didn't see it coming, and
Right.
it just made
Me
me
neither.
just stop. Like, what is this? So yes, it was like what, this 16 or 17 around that time.
Yeah, it's before the pandemic. I
It
think.
was before the pandemic. Yes.
Right after the pandemic started.
Yep.
I think, yes.
And Marcelle, you play a bit of footwork, but have you ever seen RP Boo perform?
No, unfortunately not. No.
All right.
And,
So-
you played yesterday.
Yes, I did.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, for the uninitiated, how would both of you describe your styles to someone who doesn't know?
Well, for me, it's a difference. If you listen to the production, that's one thing, versus the DJing, that's another. The production is more created out of what I grew up to, being a child born in the 70s, so now I'm 51. And the stuff that I was listening, taking in from world music all the way through the 80s, watching like MTV, all that was installed in me, so it came out of the production. But on the DJ side, it was more of my style is enjoyment. Just have a nice time and not stand there and look stupid and be so prideful or cocky just because I know I could DJ. Friends could say you good, but it's not about me. It's about the people, and I want the people to see me for who I am, as being one with me as well as I'm being one with them. So it took time, and it came out. But like I say, be the best and keep being able to do what I do to inspire, because no one person could do this by themselves. Not one.
Nice. And Marcelle, I'm curious, to the uninitiated, how you would describe your DJing style.
Yeah, I don't know. Liberated sounds. I don't know.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. How do you prepare for a DJ set, if at all?
I don't.
Do you practice? Thank you. You don't at all. Do you ever?
I've never practiced a DJ set.
Never practiced.
No.
Okay.
But I mean, obviously, I listen to a lot of music. So
Right.
Yeah, my roots are. I'm born in the '60s. I started with music when I was 13, 14, at a traumatic time in my life when I became an orphan. That's very important because, and then at the same time, punk happened. So I was 13, 14 in 1977. And that was, a traumatic experience, obviously. But also, like, the music saved me in a way. I come from a small-minded Catholic family who are not into art at all. And for me, it was like, becoming an orphan. And there was this new generation of bands who are similar age, like the singer of the Slits. Yeah, she passed away a long time ago, but she the same age as me. So that was very inspirational. And bands like Buzzcocks and What Do I Get is for me very much related to being lonely and an orphan. And also, the challenging. For me, music is not escapism. It's a way of life. And so it can also be angry and funny, whatever mood I'm in at the moment. That's why I also don't prepare. I improvise on the spot. Obviously, I have lots of experience, but still, also a chance plays a role. So let's see what happens when I play in 3 decks. What happens when I play these 3 records together?
So your practice is really happening live in front of everybody.
Yes. That's very important. That's the way to be creative.
Sure.
Yeah.
RP Boo, do you practice at all?
How
do you prepare?
I just get on the turntable, just press play.
Mm-hmm.
I, I, I just that's just how I am. Similar to as she said, taking in on all music, and I guess when I used to go to record shopping and new music come out, and I just put the track on the turntable and press play, and just find something just next to it and just go right into it. And so I just always find myself just going for hours and hours, but when I'm at home, just hours, hours, hours.
So you will mix at home
Yeah.
without an audience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I don't need an artist now.
Yeah.
And sometimes I just take music and just listen to it, and instead of want to make a track off of it, I just listen for hours
Mm-hmm.
and just put it on certain cue points. But it's nothing better than actually having vinyl. That vinyl is just something about the warmth of it, and just listening to it and bring back memories. But then somebody asked me that question years ago. Do you practice? My practice was years ago. Like I said, I just hop in the same way as dancing. A lot of people's the footwork is at home the same way. Oh, we finna go lab. I'm like, what you finna lab for? If you labbing and you doing routines 5, 6, 7, 8, you just basically making it a routine to the point to where it's easy to gravitate to. If you're not a part of it, you gotta count yourself off 5, 6, 7, 8. But if you're a natural born talented and it's one with you, it just flows with you like water. So, like for me, I could be walking down the street and I just start dancing instantly, no music, and people like, "Where's the music?" I'm one with it.
Amen. So it seems like you're both musically pulling from a lot of different places.
Yeah, but for me, it's also not just music. It's just music is one of the things I'm inspired by, but also things like life.
Yeah.
But outside of art, reading books. So I never listen to music when I'm traveling. I always want to hear
Soak it up.
the daily life.
Yeah.
See.
Yeah. But so you both are inspired by a lot of different things and a lot of different genres. For Marcelle, this comes out in your DJing. RP Boo, you're mostly DJing footwork, but you're sampling a lot of different things. And I wonder, you're both producers and DJs, and I wonder if one of those roles you identify with one of them more, either a producer and a DJ, and how they impact each other.
It goes hand in hand like a zipper. It's like a jacket with the zipper. Once it's unzipped, it's separated. But when you zip it up, it's together, even though you see both sides. So it's sitting right there the whole time. And with the production for me, it's more of my mind being creative of things that surrounded me, and be able to put it as, this is my compliment to the people. This is my compliment to life. I want to show appreciation. So that's how it becomes, as well as the DJ part. Is you could make these type of music tracks for everybody, but there some people think that because it's a nice track that they think they know how that individual, that DJ felt as they was making it, and think they could do it just like that person. I'm like, nah, you have to really take that as an inspiration for yourself if you're a DJ, and then become one and find your own route, because with that, one reaches out to the other and it stems out. So we help each other come. And like I tell people, if you decide to take it for the wrong purpose and you think you could get in front of this DJ or this producer, when it stops, it's going to go right back to the person who created it. And they didn't want that. They just wanted to spread throughout the world with the next DJs to come.
Yeah. Okay, so there's something I really want to talk to both of you about. I mean, you mentioned DJing and enjoyment, which to me, from what I know about you, Marcelle, seems to be a bit opposed to how you feel about DJing.
No, I don't mind if people like what I do.
Sure. But I wanna hone in
but
on
I mean,
this.
it's not why I do it. It's first more to enjoy myself, and it makes me very happy to be to work with sounds, whether I'm producing or DJing, or designing sleeves of my records. I want there to be a challenge, an adventure, and to get people thinking. And
Right.
I often get very psychological reactions to my sets afterwards. So not so much about the music, but about how people felt or what they did with them, and they felt liberated.
Mm-hmm.
And like 2 or 3 weeks ago, I played in Poland, in Warsaw, and a woman wrote me later, said that after seeing me, she quit her job. So it's best compliment, yes.
Wow. I mean, you're thought-provoking in a lot of ways. So I guess what I wanted to
but that's always the case of, do I really want to be thought-provoking, or is this how people perceive me?
Sure. So yeah, there's this question of
in general, I find the DJ world extremely conservative. Not so much the people as an individual, but how they do that. There are so many unwritten rules where, I'm not religious. I don't believe in the Bible. So it always surprises me how much people put themselves into a straitjacket.
Mm-hmm.
And my roots, as I said, is not the dance or the rave scene. My roots is like punk. But for me, music always should go forward. That was for me punk, so not a music style, but an attitude, the DIY attitude. So I immediately was interested in dub, and later in techno, drum and bass, whatever was taking my fancy. What was I trying to say?
So we're talking about enjoyment and
so yeah,
the conservatism
it's about
of
challenge
most
as well,
crowds.
or being surprised.
Right.
I can get bored easily.
Right.
Also by myself.
So one of these unwritten rules that I think about a lot, that I think is, to be honest, like quite a bit overrated, is this idea of reading a room. That people get quite like,
I read books.
Yeah, people get very sort of mystical about it, like it's this mind reading thing you can do.
But in a way, then you're saying you're a service provider or something, which I'm not.
So we can think of DJing as a service or as a performance, a true expression of creativity. But footwork came out of the relationship to dancers. The dancers could make or break a track. And so you're really in communication with the dancers. But then if you take it outside of that context, for a lot of people it can be kind of challenging music. Yeah. And I'm just wondering about both of your relationships to the idea of sort of reading a room and pleasing an audience, and what you do when you find that maybe the challenge isn't working. Do you bend to the will of the audience, as Marcelle would say?
For me, nah. And that's a problem that's really going on right now with me, especially back at home in Chicago. And the things that I've been seeing we could talk about all DJs in Chicago that's dealing with, from disco, house, ghetto house, and footwork. And the stuff that I hear that's coming from the patriots and the people that going out to the parties that I know, and the things that I hear, and I can hear the DJs, oh, you got to know how to read the room. Oh, you playing for yourself, but they're not talking to me. I'm just reading these remarks from other DJs, and then you got the people that never touched the record a day in their life, that think they know everything. A DJ could be up there killing it, but if that DJ is not playing what they want to hear, it's a problem, and I don't like that. I'm like, are you hearing what I'm hearing? I was once where you was at as a listener, but I became more educated. And for me, I learned, especially coming from a DJ, I would have never thought I would grow to be an artist, considered an artist. So when I'm there, I'm like, why did I get hired? What is it that I do? And somebody told me years ago, you bring enjoyment and enlightenment to this crowd, and the people are there with you. They're not there for you, they're with you. And being able to become one and then just say, you know what, let me keep feeding music, keep doing music, share my happiness, share my joy. But every time I play a new track, nobody knew. Like I was supposed to announce, hey, this is a new track. These people not trying to hear that at that time. They want to hear the music. And the more I play the new music, the more they just jumping. I'm like, wait a minute. They don't care. They just feeling the energy. They vibing. So why try to read the people? The people came in for a purpose. They knew who they came to see, and they knew what they was coming to do. Don't disturb. They like, why try to feed us and shove stuff down our throats when we already know why we're here? We're here to let's enjoy this life together. And I still tell people, oh, you supposed to know how to read the crowd. Wait a minute. The crowd, who is the promoter? Did the promoter tell the crowd that who's on that list? Do they do their research? We never heard of this person. Who is RP Boo? And you live in Chicago? Shame on you.
Yeah, I think also in general, you could say, talking about reading, the public can't read because I think, yeah, often the audience doesn't have a clue what it wants. And so to be thinking about what an audience wants is in a way ridiculous because it kills your own creativity. And yeah, let me tell you an anecdote with my grandmother Marcelle. I mean, I've been in music for a long time. I've known John Peel very well. He even took me on holiday when I became an orphan. And he was, of course, he was DJing before punk started. It was like prog rock and 30-minute guitar solos. And he said, yeah, Marcelle, before punk, we didn't know how bored we were with music. And I think the same applies to sometimes people react to what I do. They didn't realize how bored they were with conventional DJs because there was no one else trying to be more challenging and worrying about what an audience wants. But the audience doesn't have a clue. I mean, I don't go tell a bakery to make the bread. It's the job of the baker. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think too many DJs, they do it in a way for it's put too strongly, but they do it for the wrong reasons. And I gradually grew into it. I never wanted to be a DJ, but I always had this sharing feeling of, I know all this great unknown music. Let's share it. And because my music tastes always evolve, so I don't want to get stuck in a certain style. And I grew extremely bored with guitar music for a long time ago. Was nothing happening anymore. So I got into electronic music because it was far more interesting music or his music. So, and then I ended up DJing, and then at some point I could make a living out of this. That's already a long time ago, but I never made a conscious decision, and that gives me a good feeling because I don't feel too dependent on it. So I do it because I like to be creative. And
Yeah, you like to be creative, and it seems like novelty plays a big role in your relationship to music. I've heard you say that oftentimes you find, I think you mentioned dubstep in this example, where the beginning of the genre was really interesting before it got sort of stale and formulaic.
I've had this so many times.
So the
story of my life.
Well, and so I'm curious to hear more about your feelings on, first of all, what genres currently feel new and exciting to you. And then for you, RP Boo, I wonder, like, as this innovator of an entire genre, how do you feel about the beginning and the sort of like full throttle creativity that happens at the beginning? Do you ever feel, what's your feeling about the current state of footwork?
The current state of footwork
as a genre itself.
Is a genre itself is still growing, and it still have a spark to it. But the greatest part about it is it's bigger than Chicago. It's bigger than Chicago at this point. Is because the reason why is that it has good people such as myself represented and being able to pass it on to other people outside of Chicago and other places, different country, and it expanded from one genre to another. and it's like a new foundation of mortar put on bricks that's supposed to be there from day one, from the beginning of time. And with
How,
that,
how do you feel about, because you're a pioneer, how do you feel about other people copying you?
nobody can copy me. Reason why I say that is because
They think they are, maybe. They think, oh, we also make footwork or something.
yeah, it's no problem. They can make whatever they want to make and call it footwork. I'm not going to shoot it down. But I tell them, I say, if like it's two things. Like DJ Rashad used to always tell people, you can't beat me, and it was something behind when he said you can't beat me, and those that know what he would say behind that, like, is only one person that he would never cross path with, and I was that person, and he understood. But I motivated him as well as he motivated me. But as well as I can see you, I could look at you and say, you might look like you could be having a bad day or a good day. But who am I to say I can walk outside my body and climb inside your body and tell you how you actually feel? And I can't do that. Nobody can do that. So that's why I say nobody can copy me. I could give you a book, you could read on it. This is how I did it, but you'll never get it like the person that created it. Never. And so my mind is just somewhere else. I think outside the box. I used to be afraid to produce music that, as you say, where people might be, we like this, we don't like that. And the track that did it for me is when I did Try to Break. And when I did Try to Break, the first one, I was like on pins and needles, like, are they going to work? How they going to take it? But it was something I liked. But not knowing that when I played this track, the whole club just went nuts. And I was like, you know what? Never again when I sit back and contradict and predict what's going to happen when it already proved for itself. You don't have to prove nothing to nobody. Just do what God give you and be creative. No matter what you do, don't be afraid. Because anytime, as you say, dealing with biblical things, the biggest issue is escaping religion. Being caught in religion, you gotta go through that. That's the mystery. Once you get through it, you be like, oh, that's just a test. That don't even exist. That's the problem. Too controlling. It's just too controlling. But once you step out that realm, it's like the world is yours. And there's plenty of people that's already waiting on the other side with you. Hey, let's go have fun. Hey, let's do this.
So because this music is so personal for you, there's so much of your identity, your personality in it. It's impossible to replicate. No one can imitate.
It's only one.
And Marcelle, I would pose the question back to you too about the imitators. I know there are people who like to think they're as adventurous as you, but I'm also still curious.
Then they say they are eclectic. They play three
you have a problem with this term.
Three types of houses.
Right, right. We don't like this word eclectic because it's a bit overused.
It doesn't mean anything.
Sure.
Also, the word respect also has become totally meaningless.
But I do want to go back to this question about the beginning of genres and novelty and feeling fresh and not stale. What is the most interesting music happening right now to you?
In general, I've always liked music which you can't pigeonhole.
Mm-hmm.
Another anecdote. I mean, I remember going to see like in 1979 or the birthday party, Nick Cave. It was so wild. You didn't even know whether you liked it or not.
Yeah,
and that was challenging. And the Fall, which is my
big inspiration for you.
Yeah, attitude-wise. I mean, I've seen them like 50, 60 times. I've seen terrible gigs with just Marky Smith on stage or whatever. But that's part of the package. I mean, that's I like this. And so success is not just maybe we differ in this respect. Success is not just that everyone's doing this or something.
Sure.
So success can also be that people walk away. I don't know. It's
Absolutely, yeah.
It's not a straight definition.
So, are there any bad gigs? Are there any bad performances? How do you feel about mistakes?
I think artists often have a different feeling about the gig than the audience. I can play a gig which is not so good, but everyone likes it. They don't know. They don't know. So I don't know, but you have to be aware of it yourself. So to improve all the time.
Right.
And but as I said, I mean, I always try out things, and sometimes it goes well, and sometimes it doesn't go well. That's part of being Marcelle. So it's
Mistakes are sort of part of the process.
yeah, mistakes don't exist.
Mistakes,
They
exactly.
don't exist.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I think a lot of DJs could unlearn that as well. I think people are hyper fixated on seamlessness and
Yeah.
and
One of the
sort of
things I
conventional narrative.
really dislike is DJ schools.
Mm.
It's really don't mention the D words. No, no.
So yeah.
And funnily enough, there is a club called the School
Sure.
in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
I live quite close to it, and I've played there a few times, but it's more like a mainstream mainstream-ish stage. And now I've gotten quite well known now. So sometimes the same people who were always a bit afraid of this strange woman. Like a few months ago, I got an email from the school where I wanted to give DJ school lessons.
Wow.
It was totally. So I wrote back to them.
Antithetical to everything you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I said, what have I done wrong?
Yeah.
And then I had, like 3 months ago, the Wire magazine asked me to write a piece, and I mentioned this as a funny anecdote. Well, yeah, it was a piece I wrote about my epiphany, and I wrote about outsider art, which I really like because it's untrained, artists who just do it out of necessity, not to be well known or recognized, just some urgency inside, which I can relate to.
Mhm.
And but then since I wrote this anecdote, I wrote it down in the Wire, they never got back to me.
I'm not surprised. Yeah, there's I think something you both share is this sense of sort of untaughtness. I've read interviews with both of you where you both say you bought a machine to make music and didn't read the manual. You just sort of figured it out how to do it yourself. There's a sense that like maybe if you know the rules that they're more difficult to break. You don't want to consume yourself with like the how-to of how to do things. So I know neither of you really has a conventional formal training musically.
I can't read notes.
You can't read notes.
Oh, don't feel bad, me neither.
But both of you are musicians. So how does this impact your creativity, your production specifically?
Well, for me, I could go back to the drum machine and producing my first couple of tracks, and then got past Baby Come On and created more tracks.
Baby Come On being the first
Yes.
track, yeah.
And so I'm listening to my tracks and I'm running them back, but learning my DJ skill, now I can play my track off a 4-track, Tascam 4-track with the pitch control. Then you got the turntable with the ghetto house playing. So I'm learning how to now play my music with previous music, and okay, it's this rhythm going, it's this funky flow that's going. But then later on, I hear other people like, it's something about this. It's not the mix, but now when they get this track, they're like, I can't play this track with somebody else's track, but they thought it was something wrong with my track. And me not knowing, like I said, never had an owner's manual. Never read the how it's supposed to go, the metronomes, the how many bars, the BPMs. So as it's going, a lot of people like, why is it that it sounds kind of off, but it's not? It sounds off, but it's not. And next thing you know, when I figured it out, when I finally got my hands on an R70 book, and I looked, I'm like, what is this? I started going to my drum machine, looking at where it was set at. I'm like, this is nothing set as what this book says. Nothing. But one of the things I learned about not having that drum machine, but the owner's manual, that it took me, because I switched over to MPC Studio in 2014. So I was analog from 1995 all the way to 2013, straight analog, drum machine and everything. And one thing that I learned by using the drum machine that the Kanye or any other dog uses is the drum machine taught me how to create the swing before there was a swing. And that's the rhythmatic that holds up under it. And people are like, how you get that? And they didn't bought these drum machines. They have bought these expensive DAWs and still can't get it. I'm like, it's become one with it. You are the drum machine. You are your production. You are it straight through the door. So I'm glad that I did not get that on this manual, because if I did, I probably wouldn't be sitting right here and being who I am today.
Let's burn all manuals.
Burn all manuals. Yeah.
Yes, your own manual.
Yeah. But then both of you now have been DJing and producing for quite some time. So you obviously do you form rules of your own, or perhaps bad habits that you can feel yourself sort of limiting yourself? Do you ever realize that?
Yeah, the limit I is that I just play vinyl.
Right. Except
Yes,
not last night.
You saw it, 2 tracks
I caught her. Three digital files, which I think my jaw dropped on the dance floor. But you also make dub plates.
Yeah,
so
in general, when I like a track which is only digital, and I really like it so much, I press up dub plates to play it live. Like DJ Jackie from Mali, I play every year at Nyege Nyege Festival in Uganda. And obviously he didn't have vinyl, so he gave me a USB with like 150 of his tracks. And they're so great, so I pressed some of them up as a dub plate.
Right, yeah, because you
also my own tracks. First appear on a dub plate, and then...
Yeah, you're playing a lot of newer music that is digital only. So I assume with the ones last night, you just hadn't had a chance yet to make them dub plates, right?
I thought no one would notice, but... There goes my street credibility.
Caught. So why vinyl only then, otherwise?
Yeah, it's a cliche. Yeah, I don't know. Many reasons. In general, I'm a person who likes to rather touch someone than send an email or talk to someone. I read a book, not electronic. Everything. I'm very
tactile.
Yeah, with very sensitive hands. I also practice Reiki, so it's also with hands. So and also obviously I grew up with vinyl only. There was nothing else. So it's for me a natural progression, and also it kind of limits you. I think sometimes the DJs say, well, if I have digitally, I have enormous amount of choice, but that's also one of the reasons, in my view, why they are so boring. Because they start thinking about what audience wants or that's that. I think limitation is always best. And then you can be creative with lots of ways. I also put my records in my bag not really in an order. So I have to decide I'm very indecisive in life, but not when it comes to music. I have to decide very quickly because I can't find sometimes records. Oh, let's do this. And that makes, I think that's a good point of me, that I'm quickly creative.
I love the idea that limitation actually births more creativity.
Oh, yes, it does.
Yeah, how does that impact your work, limitations and sort of working within a confines?
Well, as she say, dealing with vinyl, I'm the same way. I still have vinyl at home, but I miss actually buying it. But it's a better feel to my hands because I grew up off vinyl. that's how I end up getting the name RP because it's a record, and
What does it mean?
yeah, RP stands for record player.
Ah.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And
Obviously, you started playing
Boo,
on
what does
turntables.
Boo stand for? Then?
Boo is my nickname. So I tried DJ Boo one day, and so I went with DJ Boo for years. And so when I come home from work one day, I think it was 97 or early 98. So my brother, he takes me into the room. He says, "Hey, I got a new name for you." Okay, what about it? So he lured me into making me say it. So he said, "What does CD stands for?" Compact disc. He said, "What the VHS stands for?" Video home studios, blah blah blah. He says, he takes me to the 1200. He said, "What's that?" I said, "That's the Technique 1200." He said, "But what do we call it?" As the kids from the 70s, he said, "What do we call it?" I say, "A record player." He said, "Drop the DJ, pick up RP. RP stands for record player and Boo." I was like, "What? What just happened?" And that was because I was, as the digital era comes in, and it was like, now you dealing with Cakewalk, now you dealing with the MPC studio, um, the CD burners are out heavy. I was still carrying records to parties, and I would refuse to DJ off the CD at the Pioneer's first CDJ series. I just still brought the vinyl. And one thing about that is that with vinyl being limited, but it challenges you to go beyond. You can't read the BPMs off fucking vinyl. There is no signing of BPM. It's about feeling it and understand what you're about to do. And so there is no, especially nobody would know if the track really starts on the one. That's another big issue. All tracks really don't, especially if it's soulful, rhythmatic, it don't start on the one. You might have one that start on the three, but a lot of people won't know that until they play and try to blend. Why is it I learned that by listening to my father. He played for Prince for 6 years. He comes from a music background. He dealt with, my grandfather saw James Brown as he come through. James Brown didn't know how to read music either. He just didn't. He just became one with it. And in the future times, then he went back and he learned some things. But being limited doesn't hurt. Being limited is just temporary. Nothing lasts forever. And once you break that boundary of being unlimited, you still can say, this is what got me here. So how can I discontinue it? But it becomes more of a secret weapon in life.
Yeah. And you really get to know your records more when you bring out less, and you can do different things each time. Yeah, it's super interesting. So I want to talk, I feel like you're both quite independent artists. RP Boo, obviously, you got your start with Housematics. There's connections to Rashad and Tech Life, but I still see you as like quite an independent artist. And same with Marcelle, you have no affiliations and collaborations are kind of few and far between. Are these intentional things? How do you relate to independence? I mean, earlier you said you can't do it alone. Yeah, I'd be interested to hear about your relationships to community and sort of being independent artists kind of on your own path, solo artists very much.
Yeah, as I said, I mean, I come from a background where DIY is, the thing to do, which I still believe in. I have an agency, but an agency never tells me what to do. It's always who does. I know so many artists who just do what their agency tells them to do. I'm always want to know everything what's going on, and both artistically or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And what else?
Do you ever collaborate with other artists?
Yes, I have.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I've done that a long time ago with the German percussionist. It was very abstract. I also do abstract sets, by the way,
Right.
with self-made films. So every now and I really like doing this, and So I've collaborated now, but now like the Unsounds Festival in Poland, they want me to do a back-to-back with someone.
I was gonna ask.
And
Yeah, I can't. I don't see either of you playing back to
no,
backs
so
really.
I
So
thought, I think if they ask me this, that they don't really understand what I'm about, because it's not one track, and
it would be quite difficult for
yeah.
both parties, I think.
yes,
Yeah.
because I also, when someone else is playing, I want to put something over their music as well. So it's
Right.
that's what I do. It's
I
not
mean, maybe
really-
if someone, is feeling open-minded enough, maybe that could work.
yeah.
No, but no back-to-backs. Yeah. Yeah. They can be difficult.
Do it myself. I run back and forth.
Yeah.
and ask.
Yeah. Sometimes it does feel like you're playing back-to-back with yourself sometimes.
Oh,
Yeah.
I take it as a compliment.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I feel that way as a DJ too. It's like me, myself, and I. RP Boo, back-to-backs, collaborations?
Honestly, I like to do things by myself. It's not about. Yeah, I have gave good insights. On with other people just by watching them in their production, and they say, "Well, you got an idea for me because I can't do it by myself." So I say, "I got ideas of things that I don't want to make this track, but here I give you the samples. Here I give you the stems, and you create it how you want to create it." And but I have done one back to back, and I didn't see that one coming.
Who was that with?
That's when I played with Sherelle.
Whoa. Wow.
And that was because of is at Unsound with Matt. Matt is a real good friend of mine, very good friend of mine, as well as his father, big time supporter.
The first place you ever played in Europe was in Poland, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Same festival asked me to do back to back.
Yeah.
Yep.
I noticed that back-to-backs can kind of become a bit of a
Polish
gimmick.
thing.
It can be a gimmick in some of
I don't know,
sometimes.
So they
Yeah.
can advertise with.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, because of
They proposed. I think they would propose DJ Rapture,
Oh wow.
which really,
That'd be cool.
I really liked him. I don't think he's
Yeah.
not active anymore.
I don't think so. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, because I think we used to call it in Chicago before they say back to back. We call it tag team.
Right.
And when Rashad and Spin was DJ, and they come over to Europe and the UK, and then I started saying back to back. I'm like, what is back to back? And Rashad like, oh, it's just their version of tag teaming. And I'm like, oh, okay. And with me is one, like I tell people, this is something that I learned about, and it's not a bad thing, but when the generations come through and the producers, especially now everything is being produced off digital audio workstations, a lot of people never paid attention that I always keep headphones with me. And it's not too much of the curing it up. That's not the problem. It's because a lot of tracks that I play are not the same BPMs, and I don't sync. Not at all. Because if that was the case, why would I sync? Not saying it's a bad thing for me or somebody else. My hands just like working the pitch control. That's just me. I love working the pitch because it's the drilling it for me to make sure coming in with this track that is coming smooth as possible. It don't have to be perfect, but then it can have that edgy junk in it, and it just make a sound come out those speakers with a blend that make your face just ball up like, what the fuck is this? This. Like when I first saw her DJ, didn't see it coming. Didn't know it was gonna be a vinyl set. And when I saw it, I was like, this is right up my alley. Hold on. But then the tracks just kept coming. Just music after music. I was like, this is, where she come from? What's this? It was a breath of fresh air to me. And
Say it again.
As my man said, say it again.
I don't understand English that well.
And I actually went home and I talked about it because I don't see that in the States a lot. A woman DJ and just holding it down, just off vinyl. No computers, just vinyl. I'm like, oh, this is my day off. Thank you. And that encouraged me as well. It makes me be more appreciative to why I'm behind the turntables. Hey, a good day off, somebody doing this, I'm your biggest fan too. Shit.
That's amazing. Yeah. So, yeah, we talk a bit about how the music industry, dance floors can be quite conservative, boring.
Yeah, for me, the word industry always gets me already a bit itchy.
Yeah. It doesn't sit well. But at the same time, you're quite successful. So, successful, which I know we want to question what that means. But you get booked a lot. People love to come hear you play. And they stay and they enjoy it.
Well, not everyone stays.
Not everybody. Can't please them all. But in a largely conservative world, why do you think you've found so much acclaim and praise? I mean, I have what I think is an answer, but I'd be curious to hear.
Yeah, you tell me.
I think there's a sense of authenticity to everything you do, and people really appreciate that. It's very refreshing. And I think I talk with my friend Andrew Akambi a lot, and he also has like a very open-minded view of the dance floor, and he always reminds me to approach it not as a DJ, but as a music lover. And so I think music lovers really love what you do and appreciate
I suspect some DJs even don't like music.
Sometimes you'd think so, yeah. Not you.
It's about being cool, being popular, being on stage.
Yeah. Right. So, yeah, if we how does our approach to the dance floor look different when we think of it less as a DJ, less of a service, and more as music lovers? I think that's why your stuff resonates with people so much. But both of you still were met with success a bit later in life. For you, why do you think that is? I think you played in New York like 15 years after you started making music, right?
Actually, when I first played New York, it was the day I actually released Legacy, Volume 1. So
what year is this?
2013.
And when are those tracks from?
That's what I did. What's that? Area 72. Those was the newest things I was creating, and that's what the labels finally got. That was the first time the labels finally got a full project for me. But when I looked at it from the day I started producing till from the production through the DJing until that time when it actually took place, it was 22 years had went past.
Wow.
I'm like, 22 years? It took me 22 years to get here, and I had to reflect on how did I get there. The enjoyment of parties, sacrificing, spending money on records, going against, I wouldn't say going against my family, but it was me enjoying my passion, investing into my passion. And
was there ever a moment where maybe things weren't going as well as you wanted them to in those 22 years where you thought, I'm just going to give it up?
Well, it was, I was already good at the production, but it was no leeway of being able to really get it heard because at that time, MySpace wasn't even out yet. We was getting ready to see MySpace. And next thing you know, Chicago, we didn't have no outlet, no more vinyls being pressed, no more parties going on. You might have what they call a dance down, with like so many times a month within the year, and it was like I'm tired. I'm like I have this, there's no interest in this no more. I have done what I think I've done because there's nothing in the streets. There's nothing. I'm not this negative person. And DJ Rashad heard me say that. He like, bro, don't give up. He said, just don't. He said, don't do it. But what made me not really stop, I was watching TV one day, and they were showing on the news when Dr. Dre did the Up and Smoke tour. And I'm like, where did this come? How I missed this? And it was in Chicago, and all I seen on the back there on the stage is they walked across the stage, and one of they flashed a light that hit the audience, and you can now see the crowd like poof. And when it lit, I was like, look at all those people. This is in Chicago. I say, you know what? This is what I want to do. I want to give the people what they didn't know that I can do. And it said, give it to, I can't keep it to myself. Why did I make it? I made it for reasons. And I was put in a position to do it. So you can't hold this. If it was not meant for me to have, I wouldn't be alive at all. So you have to give something back. So when I saw those people, that crowd, I'm like, one day I'm going to get that crowd. I'm going to get that crowd. But when I did get that crowd, I was like, okay. Okay.
True.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I inspired somebody like somebody inspired me.
And Marcelle, you were DJing for many years before you became a touring
I
DJ.
started when I was very young, but
Right.
not as professional. Also, for many reasons we discussed in this, I didn't want to be in the music industry.
Yeah.
Because so much thing putting me off, and it was very male. So, I mean, I've done dub sets after punk concerts or whatever. And I've always DJed every now and then, but I have two things, professional which I really like. It's writing, reading, and music. So I was a journalist and writer for a long time, and I DJed. And at one point, like my 20 years ago, it kind of turned around. Not that I wanted to make a profession as music, but it happened that way. So that gives me also a good feeling. I don't feel totally, well, I really want this. I want this, but not desperate.
Right. So there was never any.
I have everything. Lots of things in my life happened organically.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I've read a lot of interviews with you, but I don't think I've found the moment when you started touring internationally. Can you identify something that pushed you into a more international profile? Or was it did it accumulate slowly over time?
Yeah, it went over time, but a sad thing, I discussed John Peel earlier when he passed away, which was in 2004. I was already DJing, also international, but when he passed away, I've been doing radio shows still to this every week. People can subscribe to it. So every week, and when he passed away, there were people in Germany and in England saying, well, there is this woman in Amsterdam who has a similar free-minded attitude.
Right.
So then, it's a very sad thing. Someone passes away, and then more attention comes to me. It's terrible.
Ah, I see.
But this is also what happened. That it gave his death gave me someone who was a friend.
Wow.
He gave me an extra push.
Wow. Yeah, I don't think I knew that. That's yeah.
But I was already DJing internationally, but mostly Germany, France.
Are there any downsides to getting bigger, monetizing your passion?
Yeah. We both have a private life as well. So I'm in a relationship. So it sometimes
It can be tough.
Yeah, and I from how I am, my character naturally, I'm not someone who some Dutch people have this, they want to travel all the time. And that terrible colonization, it's the Dutch. It's the Dutch mentality. And I never had this. I'm very happy being home with my love. And but then suddenly the music brings me all over the world, which I also like. But I'm constant in a mode of looking forward to things. I'm looking forward to travel, but I'm also constantly looking forward. Tomorrow I go home after 2 weeks away. So a downside, no. I think in general, if you would complain about a job like this, it would be extremely decadent.
Yeah, I was like that. The same. I'm the same way right now. Last year, I say from September 2021 is when I released Established. And coming out now, we could travel a little bit more. So from September 2021 to last year, December 2022, I was working every month for weeks at a time, back and forth, back and forth. I did more overseas than anything. I always had this attitude about, oh man, I can't wait to get back out. I love the overseas travel. I love the long distance travel. Then after I come back from Australia, that's when they kind of lifted the ban. You didn't have to show proof of vaccination no more. And I'm on my way to the UK, and it was like I'm on a train. Like I feel different today. I was going to be gone for 3 weeks. It was like, where's the excitement? I'm going to see the people, but I'm not excited about the travels anymore. I say this is a job. This is the job I was built for, made for. I love the people. Not gonna take nothing away from that. Seeing different places I've been to before, how things are changing worldwide. The culture changes. It's not of their own doing. It's more of the country itself, up under politics, dictatorships. You got now a lot of these countries, cities becoming more of a tourist attraction, and you don't get to see the people of that nation like you used to. And these people was like super beautiful, but it's like they're being disturbed. So I'm like, you know what? I'm tired. I want to go home. Hop the plane, go home. The next flight back out, stay gone another 2 or 3 weeks. I'm ready to go home. I'm just ready to go home. But I have to go out and do what I have to do. So it's like now it's a balance. But I'd rather be at home to now, especially with footwork, being able to move around the states a little bit more better, because now the states is like, oh, now the states you could get it. What is this? This footwork? Yeah. How long has it been around? You know what? We just had to go experience overseas first. Then we brought it back home. As they say, you might not be liked at home for a while, but eventually they'll know who you are in due time.
Yeah. I really want to talk about age. Could you show people your shirt? Can everybody see? Yeah. Trust no DJ under 45. Yeah, amazing shirt. Which makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of experience that comes with getting older. I make no assumptions, but I think you're both older than me. I'm in my 30s, and sometimes even I have started to feel like I'm the oldest person in the room, and sort of at that age where some friends are starting to maybe age out, and I'm finding a lot of inspiration from people who are older than me, who make careers or continue to stay loyal to this music. And so I'm very curious to hear about your relationship to age, and you know, you both have so much experience, and how how that impacts your DJing today.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very funny T-shirt, but I think in general, the new musical developments, they come from young people. They don't come from plus 45 people.
And yet you're doing new ways of DJing
Yeah, okay,
that's
but
quite
in
unconventional.
general, I would
Sure.
say the new developments in life come from young people, not from old people. I would say.
But the expertise comes from older
yeah,
people.
but expertise is not necessarily good. It can also make you boring or conservative. Well, it has to be done this way. Yeah, I think I'm an exception to this, but in general, I think the age thing is also something I remember. It's something young people are occupied with. And I don't know about you, but I'm not occupied with things. Well, of course, realizing that probably I would die sooner than most people here is a very, if there's one trauma in my life, is that I lost many people very young in life. This is really a trauma. But apart from this, I feel very much alive. And there's one thing which I also learned from that time when I was young, is that I want to live as long as possible. So not that maybe I offend lots of people there, but I've never taken drugs in my life. Because I want to experience everything, and I want to be alive. And music is something I really like, or other people, or love, or whatever. And I stopped. I don't drink alcohol anymore because otherwise I couldn't keep this up, this life. So instead, I eat soups. I go swimming. I go. I read books. So I want to do this as long as possible. But I remember another anecdote. One of my favorite punk bands was the Adverts, English band. No one probably knows them, but I bought their single "No Time to Be 21" when I was 15 or 16, and then I vividly remember 21. That's old, and they were singing about it. I don't want to be 21. That's too old. But I mean, in retrospect, it's of course ridiculous.
Have your whole life ahead of you.
Yeah, that's true, and yeah.
Yeah.
So in a way, I'm not occupied with this, but I mean, reality is that, how long can we keep on doing this? I try to as long as possible. I mean, but,
I just feel like, I consider myself a lifer, and I'm always looking for sort of role models for people who continue to do this beyond, your 30s, basically, when a lot of people age out and who are still committed. And so it's very inspiring to see you both do what you do. And I believe the T-shirt. Some of my most favorite DJs are in their 50s for sure. And I think there's a confidence as well that comes with that many years of experience.
Yeah, if there's one, you care less about what other people
You care
think.
less. Yeah. What a gift. Yeah. But yeah, you both seem to make the most of your travels. Like you swim. I feel like you're not just in and out of each city. Is it important to you?
Yeah,
to
this
experience?
essential. It's essential for me to. Yeah, I mean, it's right. It's extreme. I live a quite decadent life. I mean, I can play whatever I want. I get money for it, and it also feels like holiday all the time.
Right.
So it's I'm very relaxed. The only thing which stresses me is going to the airport with heavy record bags. That's the only thing. For the rest, I feel totally relaxed when I play because I love what I do, and it's. I'm aware of this, that it's not a life everyone can lead. So I'm very privileged as well.
Yeah. I also want to talk about both of your relationships to social media and the internet. If you haven't seen DJ Marcelle's website, I highly recommend checking it out. It's really beautiful and unique with lots of photos and links and a whole archive. And then, but you don't do social media.
I have Facebook.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, but no Instagram and Twitter.
Right.
It's a very conscious decision. Why should I? I mean, it's also part of the problem is that so many artists or whatever, it's all fake. and they stage applause from
Sure.
the audience, and they put it then on Instagram, and it's totally fake. And why would you do this to believe yourself? And then I think you seeing yourself as a brand or whatever. For me it's a totally different world. And I mean, I'd rather read a book than watch. I mean, it's not. And you're asking about this, but it's not a big deal for me.
Mhm.
It's just. I mean, I'm not interested in gaming. I'm not interested in
Right.
cars. I'm not interested in Instagram and Twitter. It's for me. It's a different world.
And yet, RP Boo, you have social media, and I feel like there might be an antidote here because you're so authentic and positive on social media, and I feel like you really welcome people into your world. Yeah, I wonder how you feel you relate. Like, does it ever get exhausting? Do you ever feel pressure? Because it seems so authentic. It seems like you just express how you want to express.
I just express how I want.
Yeah.
But it took me a while to really see it for what it is, and what I do and what I post. I was like, every 30 seconds or so many minutes, you got constant posts.
Why would you do it? That's always what I wonder, because it is there, so everyone's using it. But if you take, I'm not saying personal. In general, I have this question: why? Yeah, because they make you addictive to it. So everyone, and I'm not any better than anyone else, so that's why I don't do it. But why would you do it?
I mean,
because there's far more exciting things.
It
to
can be a
fulfill
nice way to connect with people, with your peers, and
You'd rather do it in person.
sure,
Or
but that's not always possible sometimes.
Right.
Yeah.
And like you say, but why so much? Why so much? And then you hear people that comes out, these so-called experts, and it goes back to what you said earlier, and it's a connection. DJ schools.
Don't say the word.
So the people literally expose themselves and will tell you what it's all about. It's clear, especially how social media has become. There's nothing wrong with the tool, is how they use it.
Mm.
And what are they using it for? One of the biggest eye catchers for me is seeing now you got a couple of the footworkers going out dancing, being picked up for Madonna, doing tours, but nobody know the struggle that they're going through. And the other people in Chicago see this, and it's like they're angry. How they get this? How they get that?
Jealous,
And so they come home, it's this, oh, it's about money. Oh, you want to be, it's all about fame. That's all it's about.
Yeah.
That's all it's about. So I'm like, I signed up for this. What I'm about to do with this? I say, let me just be who I am. And some people like, when you do it in a good way, you're not going to get that buzz right then and there. It takes time. And when you really do get to that point of the buzz is there, I was like, these people that's on my Twitter, Facebook, but I like Twitter more than the other ones, because like you said, you got to be careful for what you say and what you do. Yeah, I'm me. I'm just going to share my time with you. I'm really video camera shy, but you can feel me, but I like to say, I'll show you my hotel room all day long, because people like, we like that. So, okay, I'll show you my hotel room. I'll show you when I'm walking around, but once that camera goes off, I'm happy. I just walk. And a lot of people say, we enjoy seeing this from you. And it's not a demand, it's authentic. You bring life to us when we're down, even when we're happy. There's festival promoters, festival owners that have told me, we love to see you walk. We follow you, no matter where you go. You could be in another country. We get a paid. Where's RP at now? What is he doing? He's walking. One of the craziest moments is when I was in my first time in Singapore. and I'm just walking, and I posted up on Instagram, and one of the promoters like sent out a email. RP's walking the streets. Find him. Make sure he's okay. Please find him. And somebody.
Yeah, but don't you think to these people who say this, get a life? They're watching you walk the street. It's ridiculous.
And they say
it can also be quite lonely on the road sometimes too. It can be a nice way to connect.
And a lot
perhaps?
of people like, I get to, especially in certain countries, the places I can walk, they were like, it's a shame when somebody shows you your own place when you live there and you don't get out. And that's the part about it. Like, how old are you? Get out and walk and discover your place. This is your place. Yeah. And the next thing you know, one of the somebody responded back to the email like, this is what RP does. He will walk. He will show you his joy, because what it is, I do that as well too. Because me being from Chicago, and the things that I have seen, and the things that I come back home to, I didn't have that privilege to have people around me that would, I could say something about something I seen that I want to become or had interest in, and it just gets shot down. Who are you? That's how I felt. It was like my chest was being stomped on, and being afraid to talk to people, or if I say something to somebody about educational, about resources, nobody knows nothing. So the world with the modern day technology, I see this with children still today. And I know a lot of the parents be like, you know what, I wish I could go out of the country. I wish I could travel. Okay, that's why I do it. Just do it. Just do it.
Yeah, yeah. I would recommend everybody, if you need some positivity in your day, follow RP Boo on Twitter and look at DJ Marcelle's website. They're both really amazing.
Oh, yeah.
We just have a few more minutes. So I did want to give the opportunity, if anybody in the audience has a question for either DJ or together. Yeah, go ahead.
Come on. Want to make sure everybody heard what she said. Now, say it one more time.
Fair.
I wanted to hear from you on the question about aging, because I just wanted to hear what you think.
Aging for me is beauty in it, but then it could be something of, it'll make you think about really, especially when you find out where you at. Don't be in a rush, please. Don't rush nothing. And the more positive I am, the more I get out, it makes me appreciate life even more. Now I got certain things, and I used to always say, I wished I had this earlier. I wished I would have did this earlier. Now it comes to the time that it's supposed to come, and when it does, depending on your age, it'll make you want to wish you could live forever. But nobody can. And it just makes you appreciate life even more. With age comes wisdom. With wisdom, as they call it, being an elder. Some people look at themselves, especially in the United States, I'm old to be, I'm your mother, I'm your father. That's just the title. You can't tell me anything, really. Not saying to be disrespectful, but that's things that hurts me, is how can you get to this age and don't want to always have an open mind? You're gonna learn every day. Every day is a new day to learn. And with that being said, being an elder, a lot of people say you did your job. No, your job is still not done. Your job is to install wisdom and keep talking until somebody decide to get it. When they get it, that's why it keeps passing from generation to generation to generation to generation. And they wonder why is this kid over here not associated with the rest of them? Oh, somebody taught them very well. And they have to keep, that's how life resolves. Either you gonna be good or you gonna be the idiot. And being the idiot is more of following the trend of what something is, and nobody in that crowd have their own don't have their own identity, and that's very sad.
Yeah, I mean, you both are quite young. It's just in the context of nightlife that we treat you as elders. Yeah. So we have maybe time for like one more question. One more question. Any takers? Yeah, go ahead. Do you want to? Yeah, might as well.
Yeah, firstly, thank you both for a really beautiful
Thank you.
conversation. I just had a question about what goes through your heads while you're crate digging. Like, are there times where you're looking for a specific sound or feeling, or are there times where you just like go somewhere and you just let something find you?
I never look for something. I always find something. That's what I always say is a quote. Apart from a few artists, but in general, I go to record stores and my curiosity lead me. I always listen to piles of records, and
Is it always in-person record stores or ever online?
mostly it's the record stores. Sometimes online, but then you of course you want some specific record in general, and like many record stores in the world, they know me, so they always. They always give me their unsellable records. They because they're the most weirdest. And that's true. I was in Ergo Records in New York. They got some fantastic tips for me.
A lot of spoken word, I believe, right? Or
Some of it,
some-
yes, or shouting or whatever.
shouting. Yeah. Yeah. What about you?
For me, when I'm going through a Creative Records, it was only like Ghetto House for me, because it was more of searching. We used to have more of test press. Those are the white labels, and I know if I see the number, I know the track. So I got to the point to where I know this goes with that goes with that, but I don't put it in a particular order. And sometimes I used to go in and pick up a record that was new, and as I pick up the record that's new and just play it, I'm like, you know what? Just whatever you pick up, make magic. Become one with it. Make it fit. Become one with it. And the greatest thing about mixing that a lot of people don't know, especially after the drum machines came in, like Rashad tell people one of my greatest secrets. It's not a secret anymore. Especially depending on it, make sure when you play, your mix is basically telling the story. That's all it is. Make sure the story is catching everybody's attention, and believe me, once the people hear for what it is, they're like, wait a minute, this is actually telling the story. This set is telling the story that they can relate to, and that's the most beautiful hidden part about it. And like Rashad said, RP is one of the greatest storytellers, and the reason why I like that, because I was well taught in English in high school on how to create an essay, but I thought it was a joke. But it helped me to be able to tell some of the most beautiful stories in mixing. No matter what genre I play, I can tell a story with it.
I think that's a beautiful note to end on. Thank you both so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Here. There's going to be at 3 o'clock, 5 minutes here. At the inn, Laraji laughing meditation at 3 o'clock. Bring your blanket. Bring your blanket. All right.